Nothing jolts you awake like the possibility of losing what you love the most. I'm Kimberley, a mum, a teacher, and a learning designer, passionate about holistic, inclusive education. Today, I'm going to tell you a story of loss, love, and hope, and how this helped me to reimagine what's possible in education. 2.5 years ago, my dad, a brilliant, active, and healthy man, collapsed suddenly and unexpectedly. He was rushed to hospital, and within a week, he was in a coma. As his family, we stood by in disbelieving fear, knowing that all of our fates lay in the hands of these doctors. We trusted that they would be using the most up-to-date technology and research to save his life. When he began to wake, he couldn't move or speak, and a scan revealed that an abscess was crushing the very top of his spine, leaving him completely paralysed. Crises like these remind us of what's really important in life. Love, for sure, but also systems and communities that support us when we're at our most vulnerable. Everything I'd taken for granted to that point sharpened focus. And as I watched my dad's resilience, as he learned to speak, breathe, and swallow again, I marvelled at two main things. How extraordinary love and the human spirit is, even in the face of adversity. And how miraculous modern medicine is. Without this, my dad and many thousands of others wouldn't be here today. As a super enthusiastic teacher, I often think about education, even when I'm not at work. This experience made me question, if we demand the very best in research, in medicine, why do we accept anything less in education? With everything that we've learned over the last 100 years in neuroscience, learning, and well-being, why haven't we built an education system that reflects that? After all, education is in crisis. The Children's Society report that our UK teenagers rank lowest in life satisfaction across 27 European countries. STEM4, a mental health charity, report that 1/4 of our UK teenagers have a probable mental health disorder, and half of those have, shockingly, thought about ending their lives. With the evolution of AI, most of the jobs our young people will be doing haven't even been invented yet. We're using an education system designed for a world that no longer exists. Let me ask you, would you board a plane for a long-haul flight using engineering from a century ago? Would you trust a hospital with life-saving surgery using practices and medications from a century ago? Why are we educating our children with outdated models? Here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. I'm part of a growing movement of schools, educators, and organisations building the schools of dreams. I say this with a little tongue-in-cheek, because we all know that a one-size-fits-all approach doesn't suit everyone. But we can use the very best in practice to build the schools of the future, and that's just what we're doing. Safe spaces embedded in nature where well-being, knowledge, skills, and values are foundational. Here, relational practice is embedded so that schools have the flexibility to meet students where they're at, and the community co-create the learning. Every school can create mutual thriving within ourselves, with one another, in society, and for the planet. We're not just educating students to take their next test, but for life. And we're seeing the results. Happier, more engaged students, able to manage their well-being. Better, long-term, personal, social, and economic outcomes. Children who don't just memorise answers, but think, adapt, and problem solve for an uncertain future. We shouldn't just be educating children to survive change. We should be empowering them to shape it. When my dad became ill, the medical system didn't rely on outdated practices. Doctors pooled resources and used the very best of what was available to them. They saved him, and while he may never walk or use his arms again, he's able to use the best of technology out there to help him live as best life as he can. Medicine moves forward because lives depend on it. So should education. Except this time, it's not just individual lives that stand to benefit. It's our collective future. Hope isn't wishful thinking. Hope is action. And we stand on the shoulders of giants, like Guy Claxton, Valerie Hannon, and the late, great Sir Ken Robinson. So I leave you with this. What would you do to ensure that the young people that you love get to be part of this brighter, thriving future? Because the next step, it belongs to all of us. Thank you.